Now at 7 on WKYT this morning, we'll have the latest on Hurricane Matthew hitting Georgia and now moving into South Carolina. We look at an alert on UK's campus, police warning people that someone's driving around and throwing water and using racist slurs. We'll tell you what to look out for coming up. In Jessamine County, people driving along one highway are seeing rocks thrown at their cars. We'll have that story and much more coming up on WKYT this morning.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Michelle Chamberlain. Thanks so much for joining us on this Saturday, October 8th. We've been keeping our eye on Matthew, as you can see behind me, over the last couple of days. And you know what? He's not going anywhere. He's still moving along the East Coast. Joining us now is meteorologist Micah Harris, who's looking at Matthew and also at our local weather.
Yeah, our local weather looks really, really good. The good news here is, if you can pull good news out of this, because you hate it there for people in South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. Well, North Carolina, we'll add that into the mix too. You hate it for them. But boy, do we have really nice weather across the way. We're in the 50s and 60s this morning. It's a great start to the day. 67 by the afternoon. It is much, much cooler than the past few days. The past few days have been in the 80s. We did have some rain overnight back toward far southeastern Kentucky. But that's moved on out, and Matthew continues to churn up that South Carolina coast. I'm going to show you how much rain they're expecting. And not only that, when does Matthew move out into sea? I'm going to show you that and have your weekend forecast. It's all coming up in about 10 minutes.
Thank you, Micah. And Hurricane Matthew is weakening, as you can see behind me. But the Category 2 storm is causing major problems as it lashes the southeast with torrential rain and destructive winds. Edward Lawrence reports from Charleston, South Carolina.
The wind-whipped rain fell in sheets overnight as Hurricane Matthew moves north along the southeast coast.
The best thing now is to just hunker down. Stay in a safe place. Don't move. Don't try and move around. Make sure you have your cell phones charged.
In Folly Beach, South Carolina, Matthew churned up heavy waves and dangerous surf, while heavy rain and flooding pounded Savannah, Georgia. And in Charleston, the streets were abandoned after the city ordered a midnight to 6 a.m. curfew. Hurricane Matthew sent the southeast coast into high alert, becoming the most powerful storm to hit the United States in over a decade.
Flash flood watches are out when you add this much water on top of the salt water moving in. Certainly flooding could be a big concern heading into the weekend.
More than 1 million people are without power in Florida after Matthew's fierce winds knocked down trees and power lines.
I lived through Hurricane Andrew in Homestead, so I was expecting some crazy stuff.
Edward Lawrence, CBS News, Charleston, South Carolina.
Now the storm is blamed for at least 4 deaths in the United States and hundreds more in the Caribbean. In South Carolina, a Winchester native who now lives in Hilton Head is worried about what he will see when he gets back home. Ross Todd is a college student who moved to Hilton Head from Winchester just over a year ago. Now he's one of the hundreds of thousands of people who have evacuated because of Hurricane Matthew. Todd says he grabbed 4 days worth of clothes and is now at a family member's house 2 hours away. He wishes he could have brought more things with him.
Now that I see what I'm seeing, and if I was more prepared, I would have grabbed everything I could, whatever I could have fit in my truck, and I would have got out of there. Looking back, I'm kind of upset that I didn't grab everything that I could, but I'm just hoping and praying for the best.
Todd says he saw gas lines where people waited hours just to fill up their tanks. He says he doesn't expect to get back home until Tuesday. More help from Kentucky is on the way to hurricane victims in the southeast. Multiple electric companies in the Bluegrass are sending crews to help restore power. And the Red Cross is sending more than 24 workers from Kentucky to some of the hardest hit areas. One of them told us she's traveled around the world to help those in need.
Straight out of college, I went to Vietnam with the Red Cross. And I spent a year there. And ever since, you know, the Red Cross has a very special place in my heart.
3 members of the Lexington Fire Department are already in Lakeland, Florida, ready to help where they are needed. For the latest updates on the storm, keep checking our website, WKYT.com, or you can download the WKYT News app for free in the App or Google Play Store. The University of Kentucky Police Department is issuing a warning to all students and staff to be on the lookout. They say a group of people have been driving around campus and throwing water on people and using racist slurs. Police say the first happened on Hughlett Drive between Rose Street and South Limestone. WKYT's Mike Byers live on UK's campus with what we should be looking out for. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Michelle. UK police sent out a release saying people around campus have been hit with water as well as had racial slurs yelled at them. Now, police say a woman had this happen to her on Thursday night on Hughlett on campus. After investigation, more people came forward saying the same thing happened to them. Police say that if you see something, say something. They also want to make sure you carry a cell phone so you can call for help just in case of an emergency. Now, here is a look at the car, which is from surveillance pictures at the scene. The car is described as a silver four-door car, but unfortunately no other description has been given to us. Again, police say to be aware while walking around campus, and they say if you see anything out of the ordinary or anything that I have just described, to contact UK police. Live on UK's campus, Mike Byer, WKYT.
Police are looking for the person responsible for throwing rocks at cars in Jessamine County. The Jessamine County Sheriff's Office says at least 8 cars have been hit by large rocks this week. It's happening along US 27 northbound near the Kentucky River Bridge. Police are increasing patrols in the area to try and catch the suspects.
Vehicles traveling this road at 55 to 60 miles an hour being struck by a rock through the windshield is very disturbing and distracting.
Police say no one has been injured so far. They say the only description they have of the suspect is a man in an all-white outfit. Schools across Kentucky will start seeing new videos clearing up misconceptions about drugs and drug users. The U.S. Attorney's Office says it hopes the videos will keep students from starting to use drugs such as heroin. The videos are posted on YouTube. They tell the story of a person or family impacted by heroin. One of the families who took part in the video says they want to keep other families from going through the same thing.
They have to be really aware of who their kids are around because we didn't see it coming.
All 4 of the videos will be posted on the U.S. Attorney's website. We have a link to those videos on WKYT.com. The Kentucky Supreme Court is getting ready to hear a case about panhandling in Lexington. A man named Dennis Champion is appealing a ticket he received that said he violated a Fayette County ordinance of begging and soliciting upon public streets. Champion says it violates his right to free speech. The county argues it is a matter of public safety. One person agrees with Champion that it is his right.
As far as actual panhandling, it's part of our constitutional rights, and I will be awfully, very, very upset if our state Supreme Court were to rule any other way.
The state Supreme Court will hear the case in Frankfort next Friday. The University of Kentucky has a newly renovated building on campus. UK held a grand opening for its new Gatton College of Business and Economics building. The renovation and expansion added new high-tech classrooms and a simulated trading floor. The building now has a maximum capacity of 4,000 students. That's an increase of 1,200.
It's not only bigger, it's better because of all the technology and the spaces for students to hang out and to be here, to be more engaged with us. They're just going to perform better and do better in the job market.
The Gatton project was the first building on UK's campus to be funded entirely through donations. Now let's take a look at what's happening today around central Kentucky. In Mount Sterling, there will be a 5K honoring a fallen state trooper. The Run for the Donuts 5K starts at 8:30 this morning at Easy Walker Park. The Fraternal Order of Police and Wives Behind the Blue are putting on the race. The winner will receive the Trooper Blake Tribby Memorial Award. Trooper Blake Tribby was killed in an accident while off duty. WKYT's Amber Philpott will be there as the MC for the event. And for all UK fans out there, today's game is homecoming, so that means there will be a tailgate tent party. The UK Alumni Association is inviting all alumni and fans to Tobacco Research Lawn at the corner of Cooper and University Drives. The party starts at 1:30, and there will be a barbecue meal along with entertainment, giveaways, and a special musical performance by J.D. Shelburne. Today's game against Vanderbilt starts at 4 p.m., and you can watch the game on the SEC network. Also in Lexington is the annual Boktoberfest. The event is put on by Paws for the Cause. It will be held at Blue Stallion Brewery, which is just off of West 3rd Street in downtown Lexington. It starts at noon, and there will be a live band, great food, and of course, plenty of adoptable pets. Boktoberfest ends around 4 o'clock this afternoon. Your time now is 7:09 on this Saturday, and there's plenty of news coming up on WKYT this morning. Find out who the newest members are of Nashville's Music City Hall of Fame. We'll have that story plus the rest of your entertainment news coming up in about 10 minutes. And if you're getting ready to make plans for traveling on Christmas, right now is the best time. We'll tell you why after Micah's forecast.
Boy, that front is moving on through. You can absolutely feel it in the air with those gusty winds, too. Now, we're going to go over how low our temperatures go. Do they actually drop from here through the afternoon? I'm going to get into that and also look at Matthew coming up.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Now we're looking at that rain slowly but surely being pushed out of here. The front is actually over in eastern Kentucky, and you'll see that on our temperature map, but it's pushing the rain on out. So the rain's long gone. I think we are good to go, and that's what it looks like as we head throughout the next several hours. I mean, the cloud cover's out there. It's not going to be the best look when you step outside early this morning. You'll have the cloud deck overhead, but there's a cloud deck. It's right in here, and it's going to be moving eastbound as we go through the day. And once that happens, then you're talking about a really, really nice afternoon. Temperatures won't rise that much from what you're seeing right there. We'll go about 5 to about 8 degrees higher. And that's it. 67 for a high today, 65 for tomorrow. Much cooler conditions. You got to remember the past 4 days, 4 consecutive days, we were there in the low to mid 80s. So now we're looking at dropping that anywhere from 10 to 20 degrees in most locations. And it's a different feel outside. I'll tell you this, even when I walked outside early this morning to come to work, it was 62 degrees, but that wind was gusty outside. And it made it feel much cooler. So with the wind outside 15 to 25 miles per hour, get ready. It's going to be a little bit cool as we slide throughout your day. Check out Defender Radar Network. There is the eye of Matthew. Officially, I have not heard official wording of actually making landfall, but I mean, it's about as close as you can get. It's literally the eye of the hurricane is literally 5 miles, 10 miles offshore, and that's it. So we do expect landfall to be made, but nonetheless, I mean, it's causing and wreaking havoc causing big problems across that South Carolina coast. Roughly 90 miles per hour there later on this afternoon. Should downgrade because of the land. Should downgrade to about a Category 1, but still you're talking about tremendous amounts of rain, storm surge. That's been the biggest problem with this storm, has been the rain and the storm surge. Yes, the wind has been an issue, don't get me wrong, but for the most part, it's been that storm surge throwing all that water off on those coastlines. So head off towards Sunday, okay? We get into Sunday afternoon, look where it's located. Still going to be causing some problems across North Carolina and South Carolina if you're planning on heading that direction with kids out for fall break next week, at least some of us. Just wait until Monday if you can. I mean, if they're out all week, just wait until Monday to take off, because then it will be long gone. Businesses will be back open. Things should be flowing very nicely then. There's your front. Like I said, it's trying to push on out. You see the cloud deck, winds gusty out of the north and northwest, and you will feel it today. There's no doubt about it. Check out your 7-day forecast and what you can expect. 67, 65 the next couple of days. Actually, really, really nice weather in store. And I don't see many issues the next 7 days. The problem here is that a lot of us really need that rain, the yards, the crops. I mean, it just doesn't look good. I mean, most yards are kind of ugly, if you ask me. And that includes mine, so I'm going to throw that in the pile too. But yeah, we kind of need that rain. But I'll tell you this, I mean, if you didn't have rain and you needed it and you're not getting it, I guess the best thing out of this is you're still getting really nice weather. I mean, it's fantastic weather, temperatures in the 60s and 70s. It looks good.
I would envision you to be that guy that keeps up on his lawn.
I usually
very
do.
picky about it. You're
I usually
not?
do. Yeah. I mean, throwing the sprinklers out there here and there, but when you haven't had rain in almost a month, it's hard. It's tough.
Okay, so now we're going to switch gears and talk about Christmas. Can you believe it? It's right around the corner. And if you're planning to fly for Christmas, this week may be the best time to buy your plane ticket.
That's what I hear. That's according to the airplane prediction app, the Hopper. That found the cheapest flights for Christmas travel can be found 80 days before departure. And we're roughly around that 80-day mark, and that's right now. So that also found that prices this week are about 12% lower than last year's prices. So if you're trying to get on those planes, hopping on there for Christmas, making those plans ahead of time, you might want to do it right now. Roughly 80 days.
Yeah, that's crazy. Christmas. Are you going anywhere?
Unbelievable. Yeah, we'll probably stick around here, have the family come to us.
Oh, good idea. Yeah, that's always better that way, right? We'll see. So we've got more coming up on this Saturday morning on WKYT. When we come back, we take a look at why some Oscar winners have limits when it comes to their characters. Welcome back to WKYT. I hope you're enjoying your Saturday morning so far. So even Oscar winners have their limits when it comes to diving into their characters. David Daniel has that and more in this entertainment report.
It just broke my heart, and so it got really sad.
Emily Blunt plays a distraught alcoholic in The Girl on the Train, but the actress says she had no problem shedding the character at the end of each day.
No. I mean, and that's the thing, you never hear about women or mothers being method actors, you know what I mean? It's always like the guys who get to be method actors, but no, I had a little toddler at home who couldn't care less if I'd nailed a scene or not, you know.
Here we go. Carrie Bradshaw was a writer. Now the actress who played her is getting into publishing. According to the New York Times, longtime Sex and the City star Sarah Jessica Parker will serve as editorial director of her own imprint at Hogarth Publishing, helping find, edit, and publish 3 or 4 novels each year. Faith Hill and Tim McGraw are the newest members of Nashville's Music City Hall of Fame. They're the 73rd and 74th honorees at the attraction in their hometown. Much as they love Nashville, Hill and McGraw plan to leave it next year for a co-headlining world tour beginning April 7th in New Orleans. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
We'll be right back. Sports and weather are next.
The Wildcats host Vandy this afternoon, and revenge could be on their minds. That's next in sports.
That cold front passing as we speak. No rain chance today, but it's going to be breezy, much cooler. We're going to talk about that and how Matthew is moving north and trying to get back into the Atlantic. We'll have that coming up next. I'm WKYT meteorologist Micah Harris, getting you updated on your morning weather. 60 right now in Lexington. It's one of those mornings, I mean, it feels really good outside. If you're heading out to maybe do a 5K or yard sales or head out to any of these events, it's great weather for it. There's no rain in the forecast. These temperatures are dropping because the cloud cover is starting to move on out, and this front is pushing on through. It's almost out of here. We're still there in eastern Kentucky trying to move that front on out of here. But no rain chance today. The clouds will decrease as we go through the day. Sunshine later on. Very breezy, though, 15 to 25 miles per hour with highs in the mid to upper 60s. Different feel in the air. Let's check out sports, see what's going on.
The Kentucky Wildcats return home to host Vandy this afternoon, and the Cats are favored to pick up their 3rd win of the season. That would get them halfway to being bowl eligible. Kentucky has lost 4 of the last 5 to Vandy, including last year's bitter 21-17 setback in Nashville. Who can forget that? Mark Stoops says that game could be used as motivation.
Maybe a little. I mean, we don't talk about it much. I mean, I referenced it because somebody asked me a question about it. So I'd be lying if I didn't say it didn't bother me, but all losses do. So, you know, we're not going to beat a dead horse. We're worried about this year, but certainly, you know, if you want to use it as motivation, go ahead.
You want something to look forward to. Receiver Dorian Baker will return for the Wildcats this afternoon. Baker has only played in 2 games this season. He's missed the last 2 with a hamstring injury. Getting him back should be a plus.
You know, Dorian, he brings a lot to the table. Big physical guy, physical, smart, and, you know, he can make plays out there. So, you know, that takes a lot off really the entire room. And when he comes out there, it just makes everything easier.
Should be a good game coming up this afternoon. Vandy and Kentucky. It's a 4 o'clock kickoff. You can see it on the SEC network. Meanwhile, EKU hosts Southeast Missouri State later today at 6 o'clock. It's the only second home game for the season for the Colonels. Last week, quarterback Benny Coney passed for a school record 464 yards. Now, fellow senior quarterback Matty Mock didn't play due to injury. Both should be available to play later today. Coney says that he's been preparing as if he's the starter.
I'm just preparing like I'm the starter. I'm preparing like I'm going to lead my guys like I normally do. We're going to expect a lot out of SEMO. Like he said, when teams are playing us, they bring their A game every time because we're a good football team. So they're going to bring their A game, and we just got to be ready for it.
And again, that game is tonight at 6 o'clock in Richmond. Several other games around the area. Georgetown's playing at home. Center College playing at home. Those highlights and much more you can see tonight at 11 o'clock on your late news on WKYT. But for now, that's a look at your morning sports. Have a great day.
Now at 7:30 on WKYT this morning, Hurricane Matthew has moved past Georgia and is now firmly in South Carolina. But will it move west and make landfall? Donald Trump is coming under fire for comments he made more than 10 years ago about women, and this time he's apologizing. And we take a look at a crime alert on UK's campus that is warning to be on the lookout for people throwing water and using racist slurs. That's all coming up on WKYT this morning.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning to you. I'm Michelle Chamberlain. Thanks so much for joining us on this Saturday, October 8th. We've been keeping an eye on Hurricane Matthew, and as you can see behind me, it's currently in South Carolina. And we've not been impacted by the weather here in Kentucky, and meteorologist Micah Harris joins us now. Really, we've had beautiful weather with a bit of a cold front coming in, right?
That's exactly right, and it's moving through as we speak, so there's some good news. And what that's going to do, the reason why Matthew actually tracks back into the Atlantic is because of this front that's moving through right now. So it'll just kind of nudge it out into the Atlantic right now. Still no word on if it's made landfall or not, but boy, is it close. I mean, you're talking 10, 15 miles out along the coast of South Carolina, causing tremendous problems across southern Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. Around here, like Michelle was talking about, that front is moving through. Awesome weather. You got the Spartan 5K at Sayre Athletic Complex just off I-75 here in town. And any 5Ks that you have going on, it is perfect weather outside. 60 degrees there in Lexington. And we get into the afternoon, it'll be at 67 degrees. Great day, but very breezy. I'm going to show you that and talk about if we have any rain chances coming up.
Thank you, Micah. Hurricane Matthew is now a Category 2 storm, and as you can see behind me, it is already hitting South Carolina. The hurricane has killed 4 people in Florida and more than 300 in Haiti. Matthew moved through Georgia overnight. Now, it's also knocked out power in more than 1 million homes and businesses. Matthew is a Category 2 because its winds have dropped to 105 miles per hour. South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley says she wants anyone who decided to stay to get in a safe place.
The best thing now is to just hunker down, stay in a safe place, don't move, don't try and move around, make sure you have your cell phones charged.
Forecasters say the storm is expected to move into North Carolina by Saturday night before heading off to sea. And one Lexington woman is trying to keep an eye on her missionary service in Haiti after the storm. Diane Cornelius had her flight canceled to Haiti after the storm ripped through the country, killing hundreds. Cornelius' colleague, Jody Castillo, is on the island right now. Internet and power is spotty there, so the only way they can talk to each other is through an app. Cornelius says Castillo tries to give her regular updates on the devastation.
Well, she has said that her village is just completely destroyed. I mean, they are, they're trying to pick up the pieces. Even as of yesterday, around 11 a.m., they were not even able to get out because it was so muddy. The mudslides coming down from the mountains. She lives near a mountain range, and just the mud coming down just flooded the streets.
Just terrible. Cornelius says she plans to reschedule her visit and continue her missionary work in January. One Kentucky family is trying to spend its last day in Florida having a little fun after waiting out Hurricane Matthew. Becky Miner and her family were trying to enjoy vacation at Cocoa Beach when Hurricane Matthew hit. So the Lexington family had to stay with family in Titusville until the storm passed. Now Miner says she plans on taking her son to Disney World today for their last day in Florida. She says the storm was something she's never experienced before.
And when it comes, it doesn't come in full like sheets or downpours. It's just a continual rain and wind.
If all goes well, the Miner family plans to fly back to Lexington later tonight. For the latest updates on the storm, keep checking our website, WKYT.com, or you can download the WKYT News app for free in the app or Google Play Store. In other major national news this morning, Donald Trump's campaign is in crisis just a day away from the second presidential debate. They are trying to put out another fire, this time over a leaked video in which the Republican presidential nominee makes sexist remarks about women. Craig Boswell has more on Campaign 2016.
I was wrong, and I apologize.
Overnight, Donald Trump released this video statement in which he apologized for crude comments he made about women in a leaked video.
I moved on her, and I failed. I'll admit it. Whoa. I did try and her. She was married.
The 2005 video, obtained by the Washington Post, captures Donald Trump apparently unaware he is being recorded.
I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Whatever you want. Grab them by the I can do anything.
Trump says the release of the 11-year-old video is nothing but a distraction.
Bill Clinton has actually abused women, and Hillary has bullied, attacked, shamed, and intimidated his victims.
Fallout from the video was harsh and came quickly from both sides of the aisle.
Any Republican who has said they are for Donald Trump, they need to be asked by the press and others and by constituents right now
Do you still think he's qualified to be President of the United States?
Some Republicans say no and are withdrawing their support.
I'm out. I can no longer, in good conscience, endorse this person for president. It is some of the most abhorrent and offensive comments that you can possibly imagine.
At a rally Friday night in Rossford, Ohio, Trump's running mate Mike Pence refused to answer questions shouted by reporters about the tape. Craig Boswell, CBS News, Washington.
Now, Trump was to join Speaker of the House Paul Ryan at a campaign event today in Wisconsin, but Pence will now attend instead. The University of Kentucky Police Department is issuing a warning to all students and staff to be on the lookout. They say a group of people have been driving around and throwing water on people and using racist slurs. Police say it happened on Huglet Drive between Rose Street and South Limestone. WKYT's Mike Byers live on UK's campus this morning with what we should be looking out for. Mike?
Good morning, Michelle. UK police say these recent incidents have them concerned, and that press release they recently sent out, people have reported that they have had water thrown at them as well as had racial slurs yelled at them as well. So this is all happening on campus. Now, police say a woman had it happen to her on Thursday night on Huglet Drive on campus. After conducting an investigation, police tell us more people came forward saying the same thing happened to them. Police say if you see something, say something. They also say to keep your cell phone close so that you can call for help in case of an emergency. Now, here's a look at the car, which was captured by surveillance at the scene. As you can see, it's a silver four-door car, but unfortunately, this is the only description we have. Now, with multiple reports of these incidents, UK police say to be vigilant around campus and to not hesitate to call them if you do see something out of the ordinary. Live on UK's campus, Mike Byer, WKYT.
Thank you, Mike. A child is in the hospital after a crash in Madison County. It happened on northbound I-75 around exit 83 near Richmond. Police say a car ran off the road down an embankment and flipped. They say a child in the car was taken to Kentucky Children's Hospital, but the child's condition is not known. Police aren't sure what caused the crash. Some people staying in a Lexington hotel are safe this morning after a fire broke out overnight. It happened around 10 last night at the Clarion Hotel on Athens-Boonesboro Road near I-75. Firefighters say the fire started around the pool and fitness area, but the sprinkler system kept it from spreading too far. Firefighters say it caused little damage to the building. Now, the hotel was evacuated, but guests were quickly allowed back inside. Firefighters say the sprinkler system was the key to keeping this fire from spreading.
The sprinkler system, kept this fire in check. Without that system, that very well easily could have spread to the rest of the hotel.
There were no injuries reported, and firefighters are now looking into what may have caused that fire. A Laurel County man is behind bars after police say he shot at officers. 63-year-old Roy Hibbert is charged with 4 counts of wanton endangerment. Police say they were looking for a man who assaulted a deputy in Corbin. That's when they say Hibbert fired shots at them. Police say they did not fire shots back. Now, Hibbert's relatives told us he was just protecting himself.
And Roy thought that he was trying to break in on him, so Roy come out shooting. So, we got to do something about all this problem that we're having.
Police say they confiscated Hibbert's gun when they arrested him. State lawmakers have announced plans to strengthen Kentucky's law against drugs causing overdoses. Attorney General Andy Beshear and other lawmakers say the legislation would create tougher penalties on drugs such as fentanyl and carfentanil and other drugs.
It's the greatest challenge that faces our Commonwealth, that not only are we facing the scariest drugs that we've ever seen, but we are facing a scarier drug every day and those that are on the horizon. It is truly the challenge of our times.
Earlier this year, more than a dozen people overdosed in a 5-hour span in Montgomery County. Paramedics there said all of the overdoses were because of fentanyl. The bill will be considered during the General Assembly beginning in January. Leaders from across Kentucky met for the Alltake Innovation Forum in Pike County. The forum hosts entrepreneurs to show off new opportunities for investing in Kentucky. It also focuses on using state resources and building sustainable industries in the state. Now let's take a look at what's happening today around central Kentucky. Keeneland is looking to have a great day 2 of the fall meet. Yesterday, Keeneland set an attendance record with just under 20,000 people showing up. It was about 800 more people than the previous record, which was set in 2011. Today, there will be 10 races with 5 graded stakes. It will be headlined by the $1 million Shadwell Turf Mile. Gates open at 11 and the racing begins at 1:05. Over in Georgetown is the first ever Gay Pride Festival in the town. Georgetown Fairness is hosting the event in order to try and pass a non-discrimination law for Georgetown. The festival starts at 11 and goes until 2 this afternoon at Royal Springs Park. Organizers say they chose October 8th because it's close to October 12th, which is National Coming Out Day. Your time now is 7:40 on this Saturday. Thanks so much for joining us. We've still got so much more to come on WKYT this morning. Actually, when we come back, we show you how new streaming apps can tell you when and where to watch your favorite TV show. That's coming up after Micah's forecast.
Let me tell you, that front is moving through, and you can absolutely feel it outside with those gusty winds, cooler air sliding on in. Fall is in the air this weekend. It's guaranteed. I'll have those numbers coming up next.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
We have the front moving through early this morning, and it's pushing that rain on out of here. We had some rain showers overnight into far eastern Kentucky, but those are long gone. So here comes that front sliding on through. Boy, you can feel it in Frankfort and Lexington. These temperatures don't really jump off on the map, but I'll tell you this. When you step outside, I came out this morning, and it was 63 degrees here in Lexington, but the breeze was 15, 20-mile-per-hour winds, and so that made it feel much cooler, and that's going to be the case all day long. Look toward Jenkins. You do have some wet roadways over toward Pike County. Just know that the rain has now moved on out, so Jenny Wiley Festival going on in Prestonsburg looks good to go. You guys will absolutely love the weather. Keeneland forecast broke a record yesterday, close to 20,000 people. Might be close to a record today and tomorrow because it looks really, really nice. Breezy conditions. I tell you this, it's going to be 15 to 25 miles per hour, so just keep that in mind. Those hats on there, that might blow off every now and then. 67 degrees there on Saturday. On Sunday at 65, they are going to be fairly cool. If you're heading out to any of these events, any of these 5Ks, you got the Race for the Donuts 5K going on there in Mount Sterling. It looks great. Great weather, great Keeneland forecast too. Let's talk about the East Coast, because this is where all the trouble is, and it lies right there along Charleston at this moment. There's the eye. Now, I'll tell you this, the eye of the storm is just a few miles off the coast. Will it make landfall officially? Officially, you got to get the eye actually touching land. We'll see, but I mean, still, you're going to be talking about storm surge really packing a punch. Not only that, but flooding rains across South Carolina and North Carolina throughout the next 24 to 48 hours, and that's anywhere from 10 to possibly 20 inches of rain. Luckily, we won't see that. The front pushes all that off into the ocean. As that cold front passes, we have clouds overhead right now. Doesn't look good, but I'll tell you this, they'll decrease as we go through your day. You'll have clear skies later on this afternoon for most. Breezy conditions, though, 15 to 25 miles per hour. Let's talk about your 7-day forecast today and tomorrow. Like I said, look fantastic. I don't see any problems whatsoever. Michelle, in the forecast, we head toward next week, and it looks really good. The only bad news is we don't have any rain anytime soon. You don't want it for the weekend, but even during the week, we don't even have it. But, you know, a lot of our yards, a lot of crops need that. Just doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon.
But what beautiful weather. Great weekend to go to Keeneland.
Awesome weather. Past 4 days has been in the 80s. Not today and tomorrow. Totally different.
Great football weather, too, right? So do you stream television or do you have cable?
I don't have cable. You know,
yeah,
we
I don't
cut that
either.
off. Yeah, we just kind of hang out.
Do you ever just sit, though, and go through your Roku or your Apple TV searching for something to watch?
Yes.
Well,
yes,
Craig
absolutely.
Boswell has a story about how he can help you find your shows more in an easier way.
Right.
Allison Strike loves streaming movies and TV shows on her smart TV, but she hates how long she spends searching to find what she's actually looking for.
There's so much to watch, and there's so much amazing stuff to watch.
There are an increasing number of streaming services, from Netflix and Hulu to Amazon and Google Play. On average, viewers spend 19 minutes a day looking for something to watch. So Strike recently put down her remote, picked up her smartphone, and downloaded Reelgood. It's one of a handful of apps that allows users to plug in a particular movie, show, or genre. The app then searches all of their streaming services at once and shows users where it's available. CNET's Dan Ackerman.
It'll show you where it's playing, if it's only on one service, if it's on multiple services, or in some cases, if it's something really rare, you'll find out it's not anywhere at all yet.
Apple built in a search function for its new Apple TV. Roku has done the same.
How big of a difference has this app made in your TV watching?
I think it's just made it easier.
And Allison now spends a fraction of the time she used to finding something to watch. Kenneth Craig, CBS News, New York.
Good morning. I'm Bill Bryant, and we're glad you're with us here on WKYT. Tomorrow night's presidential debate is expected to be another flashpoint in this tough race between Democrat Hillary Clinton and Republican Donald Trump. The two will take part in a town hall-style debate. You'll see it live on WKYT at 9 p.m. On Kentucky Newsmakers, Kentucky Republican spokesman Trey Watson and Democratic strategist Crystal Ball talk about what we're likely to see. Do the American people learn much from these encounters? Or do they make their decisions based on what they're likely to see in these debates?
I think to a certain extent. I mean, one thing that you see, of course, as we get closer to the election is there are fewer and fewer undecided voters. And I think people feel a lot that they know who these two candidates are. But in particular for Donald Trump, he had such a disastrous debate last time around. He really has to prove to people that he can be credible on a national stage, that he can stand up, that he can control himself, that he can appear presidential, that he has a command of the issues. And he just hasn't really demonstrated that yet. So I think for people who are on the fence, that'll be the big question mark. Everybody knows Hillary Clinton is prepared. They know she can hold her own in a debate. For Donald Trump, I think the stakes are much higher.
You know, I think the first debate really did not fit Donald Trump's style of politicking and really were to the advantage of Secretary Clinton, just a straight-up debate. You switch to a town hall meeting that's all about connecting with individual voters and being able to speak to individual voters' issues. That's really Donald Trump's bread and butter, being able to play to a crowd, play to people, and that's where Secretary Clinton really struggles, with being able to connect on a one-on-one human level with real Americans. That's what's really held her back as a politician this year and in the past, and what's kept this race close. And I think Donald Trump is going to perform much better in tonight's debate than he did in the first one, just because he's got that audience to play to. He's got a crowd to work, and I think Secretary Clinton's going to struggle when she's up on the same stage with him in this setting.
Was the vice presidential debate consequential?
No, not really.
No. they never really are.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think it was interesting from a political perspective because Mike Pence came in wanting to win and wanting to sort of preserve his reputation for the future. And Tim Kaine clearly came in with the plan to attack Mike Pence, to try to get under his skin, to try to get something out of him and show that there's daylight between him and Donald Trump. He didn't ultimately really succeed in doing that, but he laid out that strategy. They did get some decent headlines about are Trump and Pence on the same page. Ultimately, though, especially with these two candidates and especially with such a lightning rod as Donald Trump, it's all about the top of the ticket. No one is voting for the vice presidential nominees here.
I think it was an interesting strategy on the part of Tim Kaine, which was talk about Mike Pence as little as possible. You know, there was several issues in Pence's past you would have thought would have been brought up, but they weren't. It was all about hammering Donald Trump.
There was nothing about gay rights, for example, which was kind of his, you know, the thing that he was most known for nationally is the religious freedom.
I do think, if anything, people who just said, people who would say, I don't really like either of these two presidential candidates, but I kind of like the two vice presidential candidates. I think that those folks may have been turned off a little bit by Senator Kaine's interrupting and aggressive style in the debate. You see a lot on Twitter, heard a lot of comments in the afterwards about his interrupting manner during the debate.
Now, we address the issues in the campaign as well as Kentucky's U.S. Senate race between Rand Paul and Jim Gray and the battle for control of the State House on Kentucky Newsmakers. It airs in its entirety tomorrow morning at 6 on WKYT. It repeats tomorrow at 10 a.m. on the CW Lexington. Set your DVR or catch it one of those times. I'm Bill Bryant. We'll be right back on WKYT This Morning.
A 102-year-old woman is the biggest Chicago Cubs fan around. So much so, Loretta Dolan keeps score of all 162 games every season. She even keeps track of every pitch thrown during the game. She has done this for more than 50 years. Now the Cubs are currently in first place in the National League, so Dolan is hoping this is the year they win the World Series, and you cannot let her down. Look at her.
How cute is she?
She
you know,
is
Mike
adorable.
Byer here, our reporter, loves Chicago. So her and Mike probably get together and just kind of hang out and watch some games.
Love to see the two of them.
Love that. All right, let's talk about the weather real quick, get you updated before you take off early this morning. Anything going on, 5Ks, yard sales, events, festivals, all looks great. No rain in the forecast for today. It's going to be very breezy, though, 15 to 25 miles per hour as we head through your day. And highs there in the mid to upper 60s later on. Keeneland forecast looked great. We were in the 80s yesterday, but we'll be in the 60s today and tomorrow. Looks fantastic.
Great day for Keeneland and for a UK game.
You got it.
Have a great day, everyone. Thanks for watching.